What I got, you can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sailing right now. I'm feeling like 100 grand.
You are listening to Inspired Insider with your host, Dr. Jeremy Wise.
Dr. Jeremy Wise here, founder of InspiredInsider.com, where I talk with inspirational entrepreneurs and leaders. Today is no different. I have Shimrit Lev and Gitit Lahav, and they are with Sweet Victory Gum. Before I formally introduce them, I always like to point out other episodes of the podcast people should check out. I love functional food products and functional, products that help our bodies and maybe our cravings in this case. So there's a couple in this realm. I had the founder of RX Bars on the podcast, and that was a very interesting journey and lessons that he shared. I also had Tara Bosch of Smart Sweets and how she grew the company from such a young age as well. I also had Gitit and Shimrit, the art of building brands across continents. That's actually how I met Sweet Victory. Is Gitit was raving about Sweet Victory, and so I have to have him on to tell their story. Also, Moise Navon of Mobileye, I had him on. He was one of the founding engineers at Mobileye. Mobileye was acquired by Intel for $15.3 billion. But what struck me about that interview is he talked about all of the hard times and the sacrifices along the journey, because it wasn't always easy. Most of it wasn't easy, actually. So check that interview out and much more on InspiredInsider.com. And this episode is brought to you by Rise 25. At Rise 25, we help businesses give to and connect to their dream relationships and partnerships. How do we do that? We do that by helping you run your podcast. We're an easy button for a company to launch and run a podcast. We do the strategy, the accountability, and the full execution. We call ourselves kind of the magic elves that run in the background and make it look easy for the company and the host, so they can create amazing content and create amazing relationships. For me, the number one thing in my life is relationships. I'm always looking at ways to give to my best relationships, and I found no better way over the past decade to profile the people and companies I most admire on this planet and share with the world what they're working on. So if you've thought about podcasting, you should. If you have questions, go to rise25.com or email us at support@rise25.com. I'm excited to introduce Shimrit and Gitit. They're super women and inventors of the magical chewing gum. Okay. This chewing gum is called Sweet Victory Gum, and it helps you overcome sugar cravings. And if you watch any of the videos online, it's kind of magic. They've done this, I think, on live television too. People eating the gum or trying some sweets, then eating the gum and trying sweets, and you'll see the reactions there. But a little background, Shimrit Lev is the co-founder and COO of Sweet Victory Gum, and she has a nutrition background with years of experience, specializes in nutrition based on Chinese medicine. Gitit Lahav is the co-founder and CEO, and she's a serial entrepreneur as CEO of several past companies that she founded, and she's spent the last decade researching the relationship between nutrition and psychology. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you for having us.
I would love for you to start off and just talk about Sweet Victory Gum and what you do as a company. I'm going to, as you're talking, if there is a video version, I'm going to share my screen and we'll poke around the website. So talk about Sweet Victory Gum.
Cool. Where should we start? Shimrit, do you want to start?
I can give you briefly a background about our product, or maybe about ourselves before. Gitit and I established the company a few years ago, 3 years ago, maybe last 4 years ago at the beginning of the COVID. But we both, in our background, best friends and entrepreneur for the last decade. In the field of nutrition and health. In our background, we both faced with health challenges in the past, and we both had a sweet tooth. So in early stage of our adult life, we decided to dedicate our time and efforts to design a tool in order to help people with similar difficulties to overcome their sugar cravings in an easy and fun way. and this is how Sweet Victory was born. Sweet Victory is a functional, tasty chewing gum. It contains herbs, Gymnema sylvester. It's originated in India and very known in Ayurvedic medicine for the last 3,000 years as a natural treatment for sugar-related issues. And actually, 2 to 3 minutes of chewing that gum just blocks the sweet receptors on the tongue in a way that sweet food loses their sweet taste immediately. But at the same time, it reduces sugar craving overall. We wanted to help people to have a tool, easy and fun tool, to help them to gain back control over their sugar consumption in an easy and fun way. So this is the product, and this is our background.
Anything to add? Pete?
I think Shimrit covered it all well. I can just maybe add about our backgrounds. You know that a lot of people struggle with craving for sweets, and sometimes it's not so bad, and you can take a chocolate afternoon or at night in front of Netflix. But sometimes it can really damage your health. And both of us, we had medical challenges that really we needed to change our diet and nutrition. Me, for example, around a decade ago, I was diagnosed with cancer, stage 4. So it was pretty severe when we discovered it. And when you have this kind of cancer, you really need to change your diet. And I don't know if you know, but sugar helps the cancer cells to grow faster. So it's something that I needed to take into account, that I need really to reduce my sugar intake. And I think it was then when I realized that reducing my sugar intake is not an easy task, even in life-threatening situation like I had. So I think this was really the beginning of thinking about having and finding a tool to help people struggling with the same issues with cravings. It took us a while. I mean, it's not the first company that we are establishing together. We have previous companies always in the field of nutrition, and always we try to find a solution for sweets and for the cravings. So it's a lot of time and experience and mistakes on the way until you find a tool that really can help a lot of people. But I think we did it pretty well. I mean, still we are very at the beginning, but we are very happy with what we created.
When you were going through that and you found out about the cancer, where were you at in your life? What was going on with company, family?
I was just after delivery of my second child. He was like 1 month old baby. And his bigger sister, she was 3 years old. So in family life, it was a pretty stressing situation, not being sure if you will be able to see your children getting older. I'm healthy now, yes. I don't want this conversation to be such a bummer. I'm not a party pooper normally. I'm healthy, it's okay, this is my real hair. Not, I'm fine. But you know, they say that what doesn't kill you make you stronger. And I think I gained a lot from this period. Perspective, new ideas, I'm stronger, so no complaints.
That's a strong driving force and why for the company.
Sure, yeah.
And your previous company together was an app that helped people with health?
Yep, exactly. We created an application. It was for the Israeli audience only. It was in Hebrew. But the idea of the application was to provide a dietitian, nutritionist that is available in your pocket from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m., helping you throughout the day.
How did you talk about the original conversations about Sweet Victory gum, and why you decided to do it? Because it is a big undertaking, of course, and with both your background, you could have started a lot of different types of companies in the nutritional space and in technology. So what was that original conversation like when you were kind of ideating around creating this company?
No, go ahead. I will jump in if I will want something to add.
Jump. So I think that unlike a lot of other Israelis, it was not our mission or target or goal to be entrepreneurs and to do an exit, or it was not. It was like two moms trying to find a solution for eating healthier, and then we expand a little bit the circle and we try to help people in our area, which is the north of Israel. And then we try to expand a little bit more and we say, okay, we want to reach not only the north of Israel, we want to reach all the Israelis. So an application was something that was easy for us to apply all what we wanted to give people through the application, because before it was face-to-face. And after that, because we always see that people can maintain a very good diet until 5 p.m., and then everything is destroyed by the sweets after work, we try to find a solution, a tool to help people to overcome the craving. And this is how we came up with the idea. Again, it took a few years. It's not something that we thought about one day and skadabush. It took time and it took development time. But eventually, if I'm looking on circles, it starts with us, and then in our area in the north of Israel, and then all Israel. And eventually, right now, actually, our current product is sold mainly right now in Europe. It's not even in Israel yet. It's going to be launched next month in Israel. But we really try to find a solution that everybody in the world can benefit from.
For me, it was really, for Gitit, it was the sweets. For me, it was to help people to gain back control over their sugar, over their nutrition overall. And sugar, because sugar is addictive, it was the main goal. When I was a teenager, I suffered from eating disorder, and to be on control over the food wasn't control on me, and it should be otherwise. When you are dealing with food all day long, it's really hard to maintain a normal life. So the product, this specific product, the chewing gum, it's help people to be in control, to make their choices very well, to choose when to eat, instead of instead of otherwise, instead of the sugar will control over them.
Yeah, I love it. And, I love the mission and the product and the functionality of what you do. I remember when I was talking to one of the co-founders of RX Bar, and I love to hear about the development of the product. I remember him experimenting in his kitchen with different things, and, he wanted something that was just cleaner, simpler ingredients. And that's really why they came up with RX Bar. And, if you look at the RX bars, the ingredients are listed on the front of the package, right? And so you have a similar kind of this functional aspect. Talk about the development, because, I know you have background in nutrition, but, the first versions of the product or thought of what the product is, I don't know if it was gum, maybe it was something else. Talk about the development.
It was gum, but it didn't look like a gum. It was after we invested. Yes, it was really, really homemade. After we explored a few herbs that can help. We stumble into this amazing herb called Gymnema sylvester, which Shimrit mentioned earlier. And it's amazing that it's existing in nature. It's really a gift. It's amazing herb. The only issue is that this herb is disgusting.
Yeah,
I mean,
most of the ones that are healthy for us taste terrible.
It is, and it's really, really bitter. And you know, when you want to eat something sweet, a chocolate, the likelihood that you will take something bitter is very, very low. So we needed to create something that will taste and feel like a treat, and funny and sweet and easy and tasteful to use. And this took a while. At the beginning, the first chewing gum, there were very, very looked like homemade, with plants everywhere and herbs popping out. My parents, they came from Yemen, and my mother told me that it looked like a Yemeni chewing gum because it really looked like very, very authentic. But they were functional. They worked well. So for us, it was the first step to see that we can embed the herb into a chewing gum. And after that, we had a long way to improve the formulation and the bitter masking effects, etc.
You can see here on the page, if you're looking at the video, we have right now in time, there may be other flavors in the future, but right now there's tutti frutti, peppermint, watermelon, and spearmint, right?
Yes.
You mentioned the original look of it was like kind of, you know, a lot of herbs popping out. Talk about Eitan and his advice to you, because we did talk about on the interview your company and what were some of the things that he was working with you on.
Eitan actually helped us with the branding of the company. He helps us to find the name, Sweet Victory. Actually, this is a work that we did with Eitan. We came with another different name. The original name was Genie. We thought it like a genie in a bottle, like a magic, but we wrote it like a short of Gymnema with different letters. But in worldwide, when we talked with partners around the world, they told us that the name is actually reminds them something else, like women products. So Eitan helps us to find the way that actually will empower people like we wanted it to be when we first started to develop this product. We wanted to help people to feel empowerment. So Sweet Victory, it's definitely.
Talk about some of your mentors, you know, obviously, where people have helped you along in the journey. Obviously, Eitan is one of them. I'm here on our story page. You have several advisors. You want to talk about some of the advice and lessons they helped you with and gave you?
We are very blessed. This is something that we definitely can say. We are surrounded with amazing, different people with a lot of experience, like Yossi Ackerman and Ophir Dubovi and Mickey Roll, as you can see here on your screen, but with a lot more. Gitit and I, we are the heart of the company, but we don't know everything. And we are usually on our daily basis trying to have advice from people who did it before. And we, like Mickey Roll, she's helping us with our clinical research and with our R&D, with our development, and Yossi Ackerman and Ophir Dubovi has another point of view of the business, of the strategy. So we are really blessed, actually. We feel really blessed.
What was a memorable piece of advice one of them gave you? Because I'm sure on the branding side, Eitan, I don't know him that well, but he seems pretty blunt. Like he'll tell you how it is, and if he doesn't like it, he's gonna tell you. What's a piece of advice from one of them that kind of helped the trajectory of the company?
Wow. One piece of advice, we're working with them in the last 3 years. Shimrit, do you remember something specifically?
Not now, but maybe because I'm a little nervous, but no, now I'm not.
I mean, did, like, for instance, Michael Roll have any advice around the research part? Because that kind of involves what type of partners, because you can go a lot of different routes with the distribution of this, right? And I'm sure that you chose a route maybe on the medical side because of the partnerships.
Yeah, I can give you an example in most of countries, we are food or food supplement. We are not medical device, we are not pharmaceutical. But one piece of advice that Dr. Mickey Roll gave us, it was to go ahead with the clinical research, even though that we don't need to do. I mean, regulatory, we don't need to do. But when you're doing clinical research, and we just completed one on diabetes type 1 in Tel Aviv Hospital, it can open you doors regarding distribution in different markets. So this was exact example for one piece of advice. I'm sorry to say that we still don't have the results from this research because we were double blinded and we were not exposed to the results. They're now collecting the data, but it was a very, very good advice in our opinion because it can really help afterwards with marketing, etc.
Talk about the consumer research you did.
We have conducted consumer research on 80 participants, trying the Sweet Victory gum for 2 weeks, 3 times a day. And I have to tell you that we were really, really blown away from the results. It was even more than what we expected. We expected to see that people eat less sweets because we know the effect of the gum. It's really immediate and it's very, very easy to demonstrate. I mean, we didn't, we are not meeting people that have the doubt if it works or no, because I think we are very lucky to have a product with an immediate effect, which is very, very rare. I mean, I never saw any other product, especially not dietary supplement, that have an immediate effect. So because of the effect, there is no doubt, but it was very interesting to see that the effect is not like a gimmick, something for 1 hour blocking the receptors and that's it. It was very interesting for us that as longer the participants continue to take the chewing gum, and if I will be specifically from the first day and further, the control and the craving for sugar, really, really went down in 80%, and the control went up in 80%. And for us, it was something new to understand that the effect getting stronger while with prolonged use. And another thing that we were very surprised to see, it's the 90% lost weight. We really, until then, we always very, very careful not to talk about losing weight because we are not a product to help people losing weight. We are a product just to help people to have more control over their food choices. But of course, when you have more control on your food choices, so yeah, obviously.
It's a byproduct.
Yes, exactly. So we were very, very impressed. Really, we were very surprised. And yeah, you can see the whole research on our website.
Yeah, I was watching one video where I don't know who the person was, but someone was talking to them and saying, "Do you like chocolate?" And they're like, "Chocolate's my favorite thing in the world." I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. And then they chew the gum. They're like, "So there's no way that you would ever not like chocolate." right? And then they chewed the gum and then they tasted it and they're like, this is terrible, you know?
We love it.
Yeah.
Every time that someone tried a product and then try something sweet, it's just it's amazing to see. It's amazing to see.
So I could see you're getting together. You each have these individual kind of whys and why you want to create this product. And then you go out and you create kind of a homemade version to test around to see, is this going to work? You looked at the different types of ingredients that could work for it. You knew it was going to be a gum. Now you need to get it out there. You need production and you need distribution. So what do you do first? Did you reach out to people from raising money perspective from production, or what'd you do next?
What we did in the past, or what we are doing right now, because we are still doing what we. But
when you first started,
different priorities.
We started to knock on doors.
What's
This is
that?
what we started at the beginning, to knock on doors, to go ourselves, and to, at the beginning it was for Strauss in Israel. With them, we did the first pilot, industry pilot, with our formulation. It was amazing. And then it was when we realized that it's food supplement and it's not food. So we started to look for a manufacturer that can produce chewing gums. It's also food supplement with all the needed certifications. And it was out Israel, because in Israel it was none at that time. So we went to Italy, and that's how we met with our facility, with our current facility. And then we realized that we need to import the product in Israel. So we started to think about the strategy to work with distributors that already can import goods into their markets. And this is actually how we started. And with the first article that came out, we were amazed by the dozens of inquiries from distributors around the world that were amazed because of the product and the functionality and the promise behind the product, who reached out to us to start to ask for distributions right in their market. So that was the beginning.
And for your question, Jeremy, so first of all, we need to find a facility, because we don't want to have our own facility. So maybe we will have in the future, but right now we don't. So first of all, we need to find a facility that can do our formulation very, very good. And then normally we find a partner to sell it.
So talk about the distribution part and where you started. Because it sounds like you started in Europe.
We started in Europe. We started with one facility. Now we have 2.5. We have one in Europe, one in Israel, and one in the US in Maryland. But we just did a trial production, not industrial production yet over there, because we are not yet launched in the US. So we started in Europe. We started in Sweden, which is a very interesting market for us. Also, Nicorette chewing gum started over there. And Nicorette is a chewing gum to help people stop smoking, another addiction. So we learn a lot from the journey that they did. Next market that we launched, it was really 1 month ago, 2-3 weeks ago. It was Hungary.
Why Hungary?
Why? So when we choose a country, normally we are looking on different aspects. First of all, we are looking about the awareness of wellness of the people in the country. And second, we look on regulation to see if it's easy, if it's fast, or if it's slow. Normally, we will choose the fast regulation. We don't have time for 2 years regulation. The complex markets with complex regulation, we will keep for the second or third stage. And third element that we're looking is a good partner that we can trust, that have the passion and want to bring such an innovation to their market. And Hungary was a very good match with all the three elements, and the regulation was quick. That's why Hungary was the second market. So right now the product is available in 2 markets, but very soon it will arrive to Israel. We are right now in the middle of production for Israel. And after that, 3 markets more until the end of Q3 for this year. So we are growing, we are expanding slowly, but we're doing it.
And possibly by the time people listen to this, it'll be in the US as well. What does a good partner look like for you?
Someone that have the experience with food supplement, that knows how to import goods, food supplements in the country. Someone who already did registrations in his market, who knows how to put our product on the shelf and to make it available for the consumers on the right shelf, who have the right connections. But most of all, someone that really can connect to our vision, to share with us the vision, that love the product and really want to make his market healthier.
In the other countries or in the US, what is that? Is that a certain type of distributor, or what does that look like in the US?
Professional market right now.
In the USA, it's different strategy. We do not have a distributor, and we are not looking for a distributor in the US. We are looking for different partners, such as clinics, doctors, nutritionists. We can tell you that we send samples of the chewing gum for 3 chains of weight loss clinics in Florida, New York, and California. The feedback was amazing, and some of them really waiting for the product. We find the right facility that can make amazing Sweet Victory American chewing gum. So now we are on the budget issue, because the US, it's an event that we need separate budget for.
So in the US, you wouldn't start with distribution in stores. You're really going to go after maybe someone has chains of weight loss clinics, or they have, maybe diabetes clinics or other types of, really go after the medical market. And then do you see them then having it inside their facilities?
Yes, listen, CVS and Whole Food is a dream, but it's not for the launch, and it's not for the first, maybe even not second or third year. It's a dream, but for later. And to position the product as we want it to be, we find out that, yes, starting with a professional market and clinics, as you said correctly, diabetes or weight loss, is much better for us from different reasons, also for marketing budget.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So talk about the launch, the US launch, and what you're doing, gearing up for that.
It hadn't started yet, Jeremy.
We started with connections with clinics. We sent a lot of samples for a few clinics, chains of weight loss clinics. We did even a small study with the clinics in Florida. And we are, this is what we did so far. We did a pilot in Maryland, as Gitit said, and we are establishing our connections with clinics for the beginning, and we are figure out the budget that we will need for the launch.
Talk about bootstrapping versus raising money for the venture.
We did both. What do you want to hear about?
Just your thought around, yeah.
At the beginning, it was really, really bootstrapping. We were not thinking in the first year, I think, or so, about raising money. I think we did thousands of chewing gum in our home kitchen. And even the first industrial trial that we did that looked like a normal chewing gum was without any budget, and it didn't even cost us money. You find ways how to make things without it cost you money. In different collaborations, in different connections that you have, personal connections. And we did raise money after winning first place in an innovation competition, startup competition in Tel Aviv University. One of the judges was Jeremy Kohler from CPT Venture in London. He was one of the, he financed the startup competition every year, and he's one of the judges. So we knew the chewing gum because of the competition, and he was our first investor. It was 2 years ago, and it really changes everything once you have the investment coming, because then it allows you to do the branding with Eitan, and it allows you to go with R&D faster. We have an amazing R&D plan on the herb itself. We're going to create a new ingredient out of it. So it really can make everything goes faster.
I'd love to hear, the journey is not linear. It's not easy, right? There's a lot of ups and downs. I'd love to hear one of the hardest points of the company, and then we could talk about a celebratory, like a high point. But what's been a tough point for the company?
I think that every day has its own tough point and its own high point. The high point, of course, was after raising money, or after we have had the first product. The tough points, it's where we are operating without budget. Then it's tougher. But startup, it's always a roller coaster. There is no one point that you can talk about. So it's always a roller coaster. This is the startup life, in my opinion, in my point of view.
You need to have a strong gut.
How do you think about the price point and decide on pricing the product? Because I imagine it's not like an inexpensive product to produce.
It's a very good question, because you don't have a lot of things to compare to, especially when there is no other sugar blocking chewing gum in the market. But there are a few things that first of all, there is something that it's relevant in the market. For example, in the market of food supplement, the ratio should be 1:6 between the production cost and the consumer, what the consumer pays. So there is some rules, but after that you can try to compare to other functional chewing gums, such as Nicorette or nicotine chewing gum, because it's a good pointer to understand. And also you can check what there is in the market for losing weight, for example, because you say, okay, my audience want to lose weight, so let's see what is there and how much it costs other product that helps to lose weight. I can tell you that our product, a pack of 12, costs between $6 and $8, which is pretty cheap for dietary supplement that help you to.
It's really inexpensive, because I think Nicorette gum is much more expensive than that.
It's very expensive, but I think the difference is that nicotine chewing gum, normally they sell it in a pack of hundreds or 200s or very, very big pack. So the cost is $60, $70. It's expensive. But you need to eat a lot. I think that nicotine chewing gum, you start with 18 chewing gum a day, and Sweet Victory 2, it's really enough for you. So maybe this is also one of the differences.
Yeah. No, it's just really impressive what you both have done. and I'm looking forward to seeing it. If someone's listening to this, it's probably in the U.S. market, who knows, but seeing it in the U.S. market, and I'll definitely be spreading the word to all the people I know, functionally. Actually, I had one guy on who started Natural Stacks, and he started direct to consumer, and then he's gone into grocery stores as well. So there's just a lot of great functionality to your product. So I'm looking forward to you getting it into more people's hands. I just want to say thank you to both of you for coming on and sharing your story, and it's really inspirational. People can check out the website, hopefully can get it at a, who knows, store near you, maybe at some point online, but sweetvictory-gum.com to learn more. And thank you both for being here.
Thank you, Jeremy. One last question. Have you tried the gum?
No.
Okay.
I could have used it last night when they put out apple pie after dinner, and I really didn't want to eat it, but it looked so good that I did eat it.
We should send
fix it. Yes, we should send you some samples.
It's interesting because there was a craze for a while. I don't know if it's still there, but where it was almost the opposite, where you would, I forgot, I don't know what it was.
Miracle-in.
The one where you eat the lemon and it tastes sweet.
Fruit. Yes, the miracle fruit.
And so people were doing it like as just almost like they were buying it for people just as a gag. It wasn't really functional, not that I know of.
It's not functional,
yeah.
And it's very expensive normally to use it, but it's really, really funny gimmick. There is only 7 taste alter in the nature, and only 2 of them are edible, which is Miracle-in fruit, what you tried, and Gymnema, what we use. We will be happy to send you some, Jeremy.
I'd love it. And I'll be your first distributor in the US, non-official. But it reminds me too of like, I had Joe Sugarman, who started Blue Blocker Sunglasses, who I think at its high point was selling 300,000 pairs a month. And they were doing it through infomercials where they'd video someone putting the glasses on and like going, wow. And I feel like this is a similar type of effect with your product.
I saw this video.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
so
exactly.
Maybe someday you're going to be on infomercials and people will just be buying tons of it. So if anyone's out there who wants to get them distributed in infomercials, but it reminds me of the Blue Blockers success and a lot of, just that immediate effect. Or you look at the old school infomercials like OxyClean, where it's like dirty and they put it in there and they swirl it around. Actually, I had Rick Cesarion, who did work for some of the top infomercials like George Foreman Grill and OxyClean and Juice Man Juicer. So we'll have to make sure he watches this one. Yeah. So I appreciate you both. Everyone check out sweetvictory-gum.com to learn more, and we'll see everyone next time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
What I got, you can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sailing right now. I'm feeling like $100 grand.